So you're probably paying off debt with the highest interest first because it's the most logical thing, right? But that could be the reason why exactly you still feel broke, even though you're doing that. Most people, they focus on the math instead of the momentum. So I want you to think about paying off debt like a domino, right? A line of dominoes. Once you hit the first domino, it's going to go and hit the next, and then the next, and then the next. And then it's going to start to build momentum until eventually the final domino is going to fall down. I'm going to show you the strategy that's similar to that, right? I'm going to help you pinpoint which domino you should start with. So that way, as the momentum is building, you're going to pay that off twice as fast. So you ready? We're going to talk about a current scenario that I've had, or a current conversation that I had with a client. So this client, this is where he had in terms of cash flow. He has a cash flow of $294.66. There is a hot possibility for him to even speed up the process further, but this is the challenge that he's facing right now. He has a home. It's worth $370,000, and he only has a mortgage balance of $181. Now that's a lot of equity that he has trapped in there. It's $190,000 in equity that's trapped inside the home that he cannot access. Why? Because he has a very poor credit score. And when I show you the list of credit, we can see why. So we have 14 different credit cards, and we have a couple of personal loans. That's a lot of debt that's going out the window, right? So the trick is, like I said, which is the domino that we need to attack first so that it starts paying off the rest of the dominoes of debt and speeds the process up for him. So the only way that we can do that, or one of the ways that we can do that, and it's the way that I like to work with my clients, is the CFI, also called the cash flow index, right? And what it is, in the most simple definition, is how efficient your debt is at getting your money back to you into your pockets, right? So that's exactly what cash flow is focused on, getting the money back into your pockets so that it speeds up the process of paying off other debt. So how do we figure that out? There's a simple way to calculate that. You can do it with all your debt. Get yourself all your debt and go through your payments, go online, find out what your payments are in comparison to your balances. And then what you do is you list them all down like we've done here for this particular client. We're going to take the highest debt. These are not in any particular order, but basically the principle is going to be the same. You take whatever your balance is and you divide that by your monthly payment. That's going to give you a number, right? In this case, the first one is 30, the second one is 20, and so on and so forth. So with the cash flows index, why I like that is because any number, once you finish doing the calculation, any number that's between 1 and 50, that's going to tell you right away that that is not an efficient debt at all, right? Your cash flow management in that position is not really paying down any of the interest on that particular credit card debt. Now, the higher the number gets, so once it gets past 50, 1 to 100, now you're in the what I would call the yellow zone, right? So you still should be a little bit cautious, but the ideal number to be when it comes to a cash flow index is anything 101 and over. But here, this credit card debt, we can see all of these are really, really, really low numbers. So once we have the CFI, then we're going to get the payoff order. And that's what this is here on this side. We know now how we need to tackle this debt. We're going to have an order, clear order, because we'll be able to see the lowest CFI score is going to tell us where we should rank that. And that's what these numbers do, right? So there makes very little sense, and this may be your case, because of the debt scenario that they're in, or being in debt, and also trying to do the quote unquote the right thing and save money so that they avoid getting into further debt. It's actually working against them because a lot of their time, energy, and efforts are going to too many places. So what I like to do, and you don't have to do this, but if they have $10,000 in their savings account, it makes more sense to start leveraging that $10,000. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to get them to a point where they could at least still maintain $1,000 to support any emergencies or anything else that might happen. So we can have at least $9,000 to work with and start paying off debt. And we know which ones, it's clear which ones we're going to have to tackle by having the payoff order here listed. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in blue. Where's my blue marker? All right. So we know that this one here, which is the TJ Maxx, we know that this one has to go, right? Because this is order number 1. We know that this one is going to impact this one here. We have this one here. We have 4, 5, Okay, we got 6, 7, 8. We got 9. Where's the 9? And we got number 10. Where's 10? Where's 10? Oh, 10 right here. This little guy right here. So what that means is when we do the math and we add all these blue numbers down, or the ones that I made a blue mark on, we're going to get a number of $8,775. So that's immediately what we're going to do to eliminate that big chunk. We're going to take the 10,000. We're going to eliminate 8,775. That's going to leave us with like $1,225 in our savings account, so it helps us to sleep a little better at night. So we're not going to totally liquidate it. We can, right? But for the sake of this particular example, we're not going to do that. Now, we know that their current cash flow at that moment, before we did that, their current cash flow was $294.66. But when we add up all these numbers, right? When we add up and take consideration all the payments that we're no longer going to make, we actually are not going to get a certain number of cash flow back. That number is $574 and I'm sorry, $567.74, which means just by making that one move, look at the cash flow that's available to us. Automatically, just by making the one move, taking the 9,000, we didn't even use all the 9,000, but taking a good chunk of our savings account, we're getting back $862.40 in a matter of days. This all could be done in a matter of days, taking the money, transferring out from their savings to a checking account and pay off all this credit card debt. Now, what does that further do for us? Well, we know that we already have the order of paying off credit. So now we're going to tackle, we ended up at number 10. We're going to move on to number 11. Number 11, the balance here is about 3,180. So the nice thing about this, we just created more cash flows. You see the power behind that? Automatically, by doing that move, we created more cash flow. Now there's more cash flow to go ahead and apply it to paying off debt. When we do that, if we divide 3,180 by that new cash flow, we're going to get about 3.6 months. That means it's going to take about 3.6 additional months from the point of starting that we're going to eliminate now the $3,180. When that happens, what's going to happen is now we're going to get, we eliminated this, we have an additional $115 of cash flow, right? So now we're up to $977.40 that we have now of new cash flow. So it's almost $1,000 that we have disposable again. This one is eliminated. We went up into 11. Now, this is the interesting thing because we can see that number 12 and number 13 both had a CFI score of 30. At this point, it's entirely up to them how they want to take their $977 and apply it to their debt. So if they decided to take the additional cash flow that was created, 977, and apply it to this debt here, number 13, at 977, it's going to take just over 3 months to pay that off. But if they decide to take the 977, right, and apply it to the 54, right, then it's going to take just over 5 months. So let's recap. The first step, take the 9,000 from your savings. You're going to stay with 1,225, so you can sleep a little better at night. That creates new cash flow, $567.74, which is a new cash flow base 62. All the other credit card or the other balances from 1 to 10 have been paid off. Then you take the new cash flow, you start applying it to the credit card that's the next highest payoff order. That's going to create additional cash flow. You're going to do that in 3 months because it's going to take about 3 months to pay that off. Then you decide which way you want to go. Take the 3 months to pay the additional 23, or take about a little bit more than 5 months to pay the 5504. So in a matter of 5 or 3 months, depending which one you tackle. But this happened immediately, another 3 months to pay that, and another 3 months or 5 months here. So you're talking about at the most about 8.5, 9 months to pay off 12 different credit cards in a period of 9 months. And once that one's paid off, then you can start to tackle where we at 12, 13. And that was 12 and 13. And we're going to tackle this big one here, which I erroneously wrote it down, but that's the next one to tackle. So by that time, we're going from a $977.40 cash flow. We're going to add some additional cash flow to that. The cash flow is going to be over $1,000. So in less than another year, that 12,000 is already gone as well, because it only took about 8 months to do that. So this is the power behind the cash flow index in ordering the dominoes, right? You're going to start with that first domino. It's going to hit domino number 2 and number 3 and number 4. And the process of speeding up momentum, when you see how this goes and how it works for you, is going to be liberating. It's going to set you free. So I hope this makes a lot of sense and it helps you for you and your finances. Please continue to subscribe, follow the channel, as it helps with the growth of the channel. And to the next video, thanks again for tuning in today. Take care and God bless.